Now, today we are addressing a problem that does not only affect big cities, but it's even right here in Evansville. We're talking about homelessness. It's a growing problem and needs immediate attention. Our Hillary Simon joined Aurora, a local nonprofit that helps the homeless community on their first overnight simulation. She shares her experience and what it was like out on the streets and the stories of who she met along the way.
About 500 people live on the streets every day, every night in Evansville. And last night, I added myself to that list. I turned in my ID,
thank you,
phone, and money. All I had was $1 in my pocket.
This is all I get.
My first stop, finding a shelter that would house me and the two men playing the role of my family. But we needed a way to get there.
Okay, that's just
1100 Reese Street is back that way.
Finally, a sheriff's deputy gave us a ride across town. But by the time we got to the shelter, it was too late.
Do you guys have anything open right now?
We don't have any family rooms open right now.
It was much harder than I expected. This, unfortunately, we learned is common, especially for women and families.
I've called 3 shelters already, and the only one that none of them are available. So they suggested that I go to Henderson, but at the end of the day, I don't understand why there are more men's shelters than there are women's shelters.
Susan Steinkamp is the leader of the outreach team for Aurora.
It's tough for women. You know, I know all the shelters that shelter women are constantly turn away, dozens of people a day.
We were told if we wanted to stay in a shelter, we would have to split up. We chose not to, which meant we would be sleeping outside. Again, something very common.
You know, women are separated from their children. I have 2 married people in my room, actually 3 married women that stayed in the room I was in, and they can't be with their husbands. They have to meet their husbands.
Supper was our next concern. That was all the way across town. Without even realizing who she was at the time, another homeless person graciously helped. Just enough so we can make it in time for dinner at the United Caring Shelter. But once we had our food in our stomachs, our next thought was, where would we sleep and what do we need?
Do you guys give anything away to?
We provide clothing, personal hygiene.
Do you guys give blankets away or?
Blankets, no.
I really recommend to you the shelters that we have here.
Right.
From stopping church to church, shelter to shelter, time was not on our side. Places were closed, little resources left. We were able to find some items.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Enough to get through the night.
So there is ways to survive out here on the streets. Not necessarily the greatest, but they do work.
So simulations, like the one I went on, are made to address an issue that needs attention and provide a perspective most don't experience.
That the homeless really aren't who we think they are. Whatever stereotype you may have as you're driving along the expressway or wherever through town, that there's lots of stories behind the faces.
During our 17 hours on the streets, we encountered many of those faces. In the end, we were able to celebrate and move back in our regular routine. But for many, that's just not possible. Hillary Simon, 14 News.